More than a week ago, the LGBT community celebrated a monumental step forward. Marriage equality was ruled law of the land by the Supreme Court. But advocates say the fight is far from over. They say the next obstacle for the LGBT community is transgender equality. The New York Civil Liberties Union thinks the state needs to start with transgender youth. News 4's Jen Schatz is live with us now with more. Jen?
Callan, the NYCLU isn't alone in this. In fact, Governor Cuomo said last week he's planning on holding the State Department of Education accountable if transgender or gender nonconforming youth don't get the respect they deserve. This was all sparked after the NYCLU released a video of one student's experience.
By the power recently vested in me by the state of New York, I now pronounce you married.
The same day Governor Cuomo celebrated the Supreme Court's ruling on same-sex marriage by performing one, he also called out the State Department of Education. In a letter to the acting commissioner, he expressed his, quote, outrage over the state education department's failure to implement and monitor the provisions of Dignity for All Students Act relating to gender identity and gender expression. This came after the NYCLU released a report outlining problems transgender teens have in the public school system, specifically a transgender student from the Southern Tier.
One teacher, when I was a sophomore, he would sometimes call me she. He said my birth name in front of the entire classroom after I'd been in his class for several months.
According to the NYCLU and Governor Cuomo, this is a direct violation of the Dignity for All Students Act, or DASA. Passed in 2010, it guarantees certain protections for students based on their perceived gender identity.
It's really important to be called my correct name and preferred gender pronouns because it's just such an important part of my identity that I be called Locke and he.
In his letter, Cuomo demanded schools act immediately to ensure situations like this don't get repeated. The NYCLU says this proves more training is necessary.
Staff of public schools all across New York State need to be trained on their responsibilities to transgender and gender nonconforming students.
That includes calling students by their preferred gender pronoun, allowing them to use the bathroom of their perceived identity, and allowing them to participate in extracurriculars that match their gender. The state education department has not publicly responded to the governor's letter. While DASA protects public school students, there is currently no statewide protection for transgender individuals of all ages. The governor and the NYCLU hope to change that in the human rights law. Reporting live in the newsroom, Jen Schatz, News 4 at 6.